Hey, beautiful soul. If you're here, you might be wrestling with a question that so many survivors silently ask themselves. Should I still talk to the narcissist? Maybe it's an ex, maybe it's a parent, maybe it's even a friend, someone who once made you feel like love had to hurt. And love doesn't have to hurt. But today, I want to lovingly and firmly tell you no contact is not cruelty. It is protection. It is putting your own interests first. It is putting yourself first. And so let's talk about why staying in contact with a narcissist keeps you trapped in pain, and why choosing silence might be the most powerful thing you ever do. So why should you not stay in contact with a narcissist? I've got 6 reasons, but before I delve into them, let me quickly introduce myself. My name is Iyabo Oyawale, and by the grace of the Almighty, I'm a narcissistic abuse survivor. And on this channel, I share biblical wisdom for dealing with the scourge, the pain, and the mess of narcissistic abuse and emotional trauma. And if you're serious about healing from narcissistic abuse, you're gonna hit the subscribe button right away in order for you to become a member of this community, because this is a strong and supportive community, and we hold hands virtually in our fight against narcissistic abuse and emotional trauma. Thank you. If you just subscribe, remember to turn on notifications to be notified when we go live, because we go live every Saturday 12 noon WAT. We don't miss it. And this Saturday we're going to talk about what does God want me to stay married to a narcissist? That is the answer we're going to answer this coming Saturday during our live stream. And so don't miss it. Tag a friend, and I'll see you in the live audience. By the way, let's delve right into the 6 reasons why you should not stay in contact with the narcissist. Now, the first reason is that contact keeps the trauma bond alive. There's something called the trauma bond, and that's the bond between an abuser and its his or her victim. And staying in contact keeps that trauma bond alive. Now, narcissists use a cycle, and basically the cycle is to idealize, devalue, and to discard. I repeat, narcissists use a cycle of idealization, devaluation, and then discard, and then they hoover you back in, and when they realize that you have caught them at their game. Now, even a simple hey from them can reignite the trauma bond and recognize reopening emotional wounds, and it's not a place to be in. And these are emotional wounds you've been trying so hard to close, and so even a hey can reopen that emotional wound. And so every reply, every conversation, and every just checking in can set you back emotionally, spiritually, and physically. And you are not being rude. Honestly, you're not being rude by staying silent. You're breaking a toxic spell. Yeah. Secondly, they don't change, they adapt. The second reason not to stay in contact with a narcissist is because they don't change, they adapt. You might hold on to hope that maybe they've changed, maybe they are sorry, but narcissists don't truly change. They shape shift to get back in, they shape shift to get back into your life, and contact gives them access. And with access, they will manipulate, they will gaslight, and they will confuse you all over again. And healing demands closure from within, not from their false apologies. The third reason you should not stay in contact with a narcissist is because they feed on your attention. To a narcissist, any attention, even negative, is fuel, and responding tells them they still have emotional power over you. And your silence basically starves their ego. It stays to them, you don't own space in my heart anymore. It reclaims your emotional energy. It declares freedom. Now, the fourth reason not to stay in contact with the narcissist is because boundaries teach self-worth. And every time you ignore their message or resist the urge to engage, you're sending a message to yourself: I matter. My peace matters. And boundaries aren't about punishing them, they are about protecting you. They're about saving your energy. They're about protecting your energy. And God didn't call you to be a doormat. I repeat that. God didn't call you to be a doormat. He called you to be whole. He called you to be wise. And he called you to be free. Now, the fifth reason why you should not stay in contact with the narcissist is because staying connected keeps you stuck in the past. And you no longer want to live in the past. And how can you build a new life if the past keeps texting you? How can you build a new life like that? And healing asks you to let go, not because you deserve to be forgotten, but because you deserve to be restored. And no contact creates the space you need to finally breathe, to finally think clearly, and to finally reconnect with God and yourself. The sixth reason, the last but not the least reason why you should not stay in contact with a narcissist is because you are not abandoning them. You are rescuing yourself. A narcissist will accuse you of being heartless, selfish, and dramatic. But remember, they weaponize guilt. Narcissists will weaponize guilt. And you're not abandoning them. You're choosing survival. And that is not a sin. That is self-respect. Now, if this message resonated with you, I want you to comment below. I choose peace over guilt. Let's declare it together. And if you know someone struggling to let go of a toxic tie, please share this video with them. It could save a life. I tell you. Now, like, subscribe, and stay tuned. We are healing out loud, loud, loud over here. And you're not cold for going no contact. Let me repeat that. You're not cold for going no contact, and you're not unloving. Also, you are healing. And healing sometimes requires silence. Remember, you're not walking away from them. You're walking back home to yourself. Now, our next video in this 11-part series is why you should not ignore red flags as a narcissistic abuse survivor. And do ensure to watch all the 11 videos in our Don't Make These Mistakes playlist to be empowered for healing from narcissistic abuse. Thanks for watching this video. I'll see you in my next.